When I first read The Bell Jar, I first encountered a catchphrase that I did not recognize as a catchphrase or an expression. Uh, Esther Greenwood talked about her boyfriend, Buddy Willard, and how he had an affair with a waitress. And Esther asked him, well, how did you explain your relationship with this waitress to your mother? And he said, I told her that Doris was free, white, and 21. And I assumed when I read that character had just come up with that on his own. I didn't know it was an expression. Okay, how did I find out it was an expression? I was riding in the car to church with my mom and with a lady who went to the church. And the lady who went to the church and my mother were talking about some woman that this other lady knew. And she said, well, she's free, white, and 21. And that's when I knew, oh, that's an expression. I didn't know that before then. I just read up on it, and apparently it goes back to 1828. And when they had universal male suffrage in the United States, prior to that time period, universal white male suffrage, okay, there had been rules that you had to have property or you had to have money in order to vote. And when the vote was extended to all males, who, it was kind of assumed at that point in time that voters were male, to all males, they were all who were free, white, 21. Now, what does free mean? In America, there were no white slaves or Asian slaves or American Indian slaves or Hispanic slaves. There were only black slaves. I think maybe they just kind of put that in there to put it in there. It is kind of redundant, but so is the term WASP, White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. If you're Anglo-Saxon, you're of course white, so it should be ASP, but everybody puts white in there. And so it was just the idea of free, white, and 21. And then in the early 20th century, it kind of became a catchphrase used in silent movies and in the 1930s and 40s. And, where all these characters, when they were saying, I know my own mind, or I'm going to live my own life, they'd say, I'm free, white, and 21. Now, one of the oddities of that, though, is that it does show how easily Caucasian people in the United States simply ignored or didn't see or didn't care about the feelings of people who were not of European ancestry. What if you're free American Indian in 21? What if you're free Native American in 21? What if you're free black in 20? Can you free black in 21? Free Hispanic in 21? Free Asian in 21? But, the expression was free white in 21. And, it did seem to say, if you're not white, there are special restrictions on you. You either don't know your own mind, or you can't be held as responsible, or you don't have the freedoms that a white person does. And it is kind of an example of how throughout a large period of our history, white people just didn't think about people who are non-white. It was almost as if they somehow weren't on their radar screen. Okay, I hope you enjoyed hearing that. Bye.